What's up, YouTube? This is Big Mike. In this video, I want to talk about the Toronto Raptors, who, of course, acquired Kawhi Leonard during the offseason via trade. And I guess I want to ask you guys, do you think the Raptors are for real this year? Um, of course, last year, everybody thought that the Raptors were going to contend seriously this time for the Eastern Conference Championship. Many people thought that, including Charles Barkley, thought that the Raptors were going to be the best team in the Eastern Conference and finally overthrow LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Um, the Raptors won 59 games last year. DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry finally, many people thought they were going to click. And of course, the same thing happened, which always happens, is that Toronto just completely folded against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, essentially, you had a swap, DeMar DeRozan, an all-star caliber player, a great scorer. You trade him in exchange for a Kawhi Leonard, who's an MVP caliber player, and was known as the best two-way player in the NBA. And so far this season, during the preseason, he looks to be of that form, and he also answers the question of whether or not he was just some system player with the Spurs, and emphatically it shows that he's not. He's the for real deal. He's the type of guy who you put him in any team and he'll be an impact. Um, but most of us knew it anyway. Um, but if you take the fact that LeBron James is no longer in the Eastern Conference, he's in the West, which is a little bit more stacked, a lot more stacked. The East is wide open now. So if you take the fact that you traded away a all-star player in exchange for an MVP caliber player and possibly a Hall of Fame caliber player, you would think that Toronto should be the favorites. Um, it's entirely possible. But with the Raptors, with their history, man, I'm never going to be sold until I actually see it, you know. Um, the Raptors over there storied, well, I shouldn't really say storied. The fuck I'm talking about. Story. The fuck are you talking about, Michael? The Raptors over their interesting history have had some good teams, but they were never able to get over the hump. You know, I guess essentially the best Raptor team that I can recall is the 2001 Raptor team. All right, that was just one shot away from making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now they have it. This team of DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry have gone further technically, but I still think that Raptor team was overall better. Um, that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm biased because I came of age in the mid late '90s into the early 2000s. I don't know, but Vince Carter was phenomenal, man. But I don't know though. But you still have these other teams. You have the Sixers. They're a young and up and coming team. You have the Boston Celtics. You saw what they were able to do last year without their two best players, and they took the Cavaliers all the way to 7 games. And this year they're going to have their two best players. So to me, I still feel like the Celtics until proven otherwise, are probably going to be the best team in the Eastern Conference. Then of course, you have the Wizards. They have Dwight Howard, who, you know, is no longer the dominating big man that he once was in his Orlando Magic days, but he's still an effective force. He's still going to get you probably 16 points and 11 rebounds. So, they're a team to look out for. Of course, you have the Indiana Pacers. They're out there. And I'm assuming there's probably one or two other teams I'm not thinking of right now at the moment. But the Eastern Conference is pretty much wide open. As a matter of fact, man, the NBA would be so much better, in my opinion. I know Warrior fans are going to take exception to this comment, but I think the NBA would be so much better if the Warriors were not part of the equation, man. The parity to me is so important when it comes to being a sports fan, man. The thing about the NBA to me, you have a lot of fanboys now who just like the Warriors because they're good. But the NBA would be great if there was at least the perception that there was parity. Like, for instance, when the Bulls were doing their thing in the 1990s, yeah, everybody knew that the Bulls were great. But you didn't just look at Michael Jordan and the Bulls and say, oh my God, why even play the season? It's not going to be any, there was still, especially as the Bulls went into the later rounds, there was still some drama. There was still some, feeling that, okay, well, the Bulls might lose this series. This series might be competitive, especially as the Bulls got older. Okay, will the Hawks be the team with their defense and their scoring, Mutombo and Steve Smith, and will this be the team? Mookie Blaylock, his outside shooting. Will this be the team that will finally dethrone the Bulls, or Orlando Magic, or the Indiana Pacers, who almost did it? There was still some competition. Whereas with the Warriors, you look at that team and you're like, really, come on, like, why are we playing the season? I mean, we all know that the NBA championship will essentially be given or won in the Western Conference Finals. So why play? There's always been some speculation that some people feel like the Detroit Pistons, the bad boy Pistons, were broken up on purpose by David Stern, then commissioner of NBA. What was it, the 89 expansion draft? And many people feel like the team was weakened with the expansion draft, and you had certain players who were eventually cast to other teams. I think Rick Mahorn is one of them. I think John Sally is another guy that come to mind. The Pistons were a very deep team, man. They didn't have, they had all-stars on the team, but they also had like a bench which consisted of guys who could be starters on other teams. And I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but some people feel like that the NBA did that. And shit, maybe the NBA needs to do that again, man. Like the Warriors are too good for the NBA, man. Eventually, I think that it's going to ruin the product to have this one team win all these titles. And it's not like the fact that I'm saying like, okay, well, but it's not a Warrior video. I'm not even going to do that. Okay, whatever. Let that team do what they want to do. It's not about that. But What do you guys think that the Raptors are going to do this year, man? Do you think they're going to be like a team that's going to win? I don't even know if they're going to win 59 games. You know, I don't really pay attention to regular season records anymore in the NBA. That doesn't really matter as much. I think what matters more is how teams play during the latter part of the season, going into the playoffs. Um, but I expect, me personally, I think the Raptors are probably going to win the 54, 55 games, if I had to take a guess. I think Kawhi Leonard is going to be phenomenal. I think he's going to score more points than he did uh, when he was a Spur, just because of the system he's playing in. And the Spurs system was one where, you didn't really focus on one guy too much offensively. But I think with this team, he's going to be more of a scorer. I wouldn't even be surprised if Kawhi is top 2 or 3 in scoring in the NBA this year. I expect him to average better than 27 points per game. That's just my opinion. But tell me what you guys think.